Florida Gator commit and top wide receiver Vernell Brown III, aka Trey, is here on the 5-star flex. He's going to give us the lowdown on why he chose the Gators, how he came to his decision, who he called first, and why he's so proud to be a Florida Gator. All that and more on the 5-star flex. Trey, what's going on, big dog?
Man, how you doing, man? I'm all good. Appreciate you for
Man,
having me again.
no, for sure, man. Hey, so we talked about it about 2-3 weeks before the decision. You was like, Dukes, I want to come back on, but hey, man, I'm still trying to get through this process. It's a lot
Yeah.
going on. I said, hey, let's talk about it afterwards. What was it like the moment that you knew that you wanted to be a Florida Gator?
Man, honestly, it was just a big relief. The process is a blessing, but it can be long and extensive and can be hectic at times. So when I finally made the decision, it was just a relief, man.
How close was it between the decision being made and your commitment day was the decision made?
It was the end of June. Then once we did that, we kind of got the ball rolling as far as planning the commitment and all that good stuff. So yeah,
Okay.
it was a few weeks before for sure.
Who was the first person that you let know that you were going to Florida on Florida staff?
Oh man. So I didn't let anybody know.
Oh,
So
wow.
no, like on my commitment day, no school knew that I was. Nobody knew where I was going, as
Oh,
far as
wow.
college wise. That's why, like right after I committed, I had called Coach Napier to kind of let him know. I'm sure he was watching the live, but I had called him to kind of let him know. So nobody
What
knew.
was that? What was that conversation like when you called Coach Napier?
Oh man, just pure excitement. No, he was happy that I'm a Gator. I was happy to be a Gator. So yeah, just excited.
You and your dad, Vernell Brown Jr., have a really good relationship.
Hmm.
How did it feel for you to tell him that you were going to follow in his footsteps as a Florida Gator?
I mean, it felt great. Him and what he's done at Florida and how Florida has helped him in life. It felt good. He was supportive no matter where I went. He was making sure that he was in my corner, whether I went to Florida or any of those other four schools. So, but I mean, I can imagine that it felt kind of different for him, that me being that I'm going to his alma mater and following in his footsteps, while I created my own path as well.
Was there any school in particular or any other coach that you really felt like, man, I really wanted to come to that school, or that you felt kind of compelled to give them a phone call and say, hey, I'm not coming, but I appreciate everything you did?
Yeah. So I mean, all of those four schools, they all really good staff. So, well, I can't. I wouldn't say nobody knew where I was going. I just the other schools knew that I was gonna commit to another school. They just didn't know what school. So I mean,
Oh,
and I feel like out of respect, they spend a lot of time recruiting me, and it's a very time consuming process. So I felt like out of respect, the least I could do was call them and kind of give them the rundown on where I'm at with my process.
all right. A lot of people are talking about Florida's coaching staff may be on a hot seat, and what are they going to be able to build at Florida? How did you block out all of the noise, and what was it about Florida that made you really want to lock in, even with all the hating that's going on?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the first time a coach has been on the hot seat. Just because they're on the hot seat does not mean that they can't turn it around. And I mean, I think ultimately, being up for the task. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure surrounding Florida's program and a lot of expectations that need to be made or met. But I feel like I'm up for the challenge, and I'm built for the pressure. And I think playing for my hometown, growing up around the university, and being in Gainesville, I think it kind of adds a little bit more pride to me, for me, when I'm playing on Saturdays and balling out in the swamp. So, and helping Florida get back to where they once were.
Speaking of getting back to where Florida used to be, Florida was always known for getting really good recruiting classes.
Hmm.
How are you helping build this recruiting class that you're going to be a part of?
I mean, I'm just kind of figuring out who the main targets are on our board, and even the guys that aren't on our board that are really good players. Kind of saying my little piece in here and there. But I understand that I can't do it by myself. So I have to surround myself with really good players as well, and really good people that's also up for the challenge, so we can make this thing happen.
Is there anybody on Florida's current roster that you have a really good relationship with that may have helped you, or may have even recruited you a little bit, and it may have helped you make your decision?
I mean, multiple people. It's not really just one person. Like I say, I feel like I have a pretty good relationship with everybody. Every time I go back, it never really feels like I'm on a visit. Kind of just feels like I'm in the midst of everything, and I'm essentially one of them already.
When you look at Florida's current roster, who are you excited about seeing ball out this year and may be able to kind of set the precedent for what you'll be able to do in that offense?
I mean, on the offensive side of the ball, obviously Trey Wilson, him being a freshman All American last this past year, obviously some big things expected from him this year, and I can't wait to see him put on the show. And then they also added some other guys in those transfers like Elijah Badger, Shamir Dyke, a few different players. So ready to see how they do in the offense. And then quarterback wise, Graham Mertz, ready to see Graham have another good year and build on top of last year. And then for DJ Lagway, ready to see him go out and put it all on the field and prove everybody right that he's as advertised.
When you made your decision, a lot of people thought you were going to Ohio State or another school.
Mm-hmm.
You really helped kind of spark some momentum for the Gators at a time that they really needed it. What did it feel like being able to help be an anchor in this class? And like, what sense of pride does it give you to be a guy who's really ranked highly that says, you know what, bump all that, I'm going to Florida?
I mean, like you say, it feels good to be, the leader of the class and, being that piece that got the momentum going when we really needed it. But like I say, me being from Gainesville and growing up or kind of around the university, the pride is already there.
Right.
And then I'm in the Gator family as well, so the pride is already there. I mean, and it felt great to just, add on to that and me going to play for the University of Florida and being the leader of the class. So, it's all it's all there.
Yeah. All right. So your freshman year, what game are you looking forward to the most?
Ooh. I'm gonna say my first game in the swamp. My first
Okay.
game in the swamp. Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Growing up, like I say, I keep saying I'm growing up, but growing up around the swamp, being in the swamp, I feel like there's no environment like the swamp on game day. So I
Yeah.
mean, my first game in it, being from a spectator to a player, that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Okay. Now, before you get to the swamp, you got to handle business your senior year.
Right.
What are your personal goals and what are you looking forward to in your senior year?
Personal goals, I need 1,000 yards and 15 touchdowns minimum. But ultimately, what I'm looking forward to the most is just, balling out, having fun with my teammates, and ultimately, hopefully, leading our team to this state championship that we need.
Let's go. Hey, I'm ready to run through a wall with that speech, my boy. Hey,
Yes, sir.
what's your Instagram? What's your Twitter? And where can everybody find you?
Instagram _VB3 _ Twitter VB3 _9.
Trey, man, it's been a pleasure. We probably got to check in one more time just to make sure at the end. But man,
Yes,
every
sir.
time you
Let's
come
do it.
on, it's a treat. Appreciate it, big dog.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.